So I'm back. I threw Hassan off because I was mumbling and going on in my little Spanish world. And it was like, what? Are you back? Are you back? But we're back. So I wanted to talk about some light stuff. So I'm a sports fan, huge sports fan, huge football fan, running home after this to watch the game.
Yes.
So what are we going to say for today's game? Who are you rooting for?
Oh, Patriots are winning.
What? Go Patriots.
That's
like,
right.
I was trying to decide if I should be wearing my MLK Malcolm X t-shirt or my Patriots shirt, but, this ruled up.
Right.
But, we're ready for that game today. And in talking about sports, we lost probably to me, one of my favorite sportscasters, Stuart Scott, passed away earlier this month. And I had written that he brought soul to ESPN. I loved the way he spoke about sports. I loved, what's his name, the basketball player, made a nice comment, LeBron, about the fact that he made inner city kids, feel welcomed into that ESPN world. And it wasn't that he was doing anything; he was just bringing some soul and some blackness, some realness into how he was commentating. And one of the things, if you haven't seen his speech when he received that award last year, it was a tearjerker. And this was one of the things that he had said was, when you die, it does not mean that you lose to cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and the manner in which you live. And this is the true spirit of our time, is that, we keep getting knocked down, but we got to keep getting up, and we got to keep speaking up, and we have to keep doing it as loud as we can, and in the best way that we can. So props, fist up, bless up to Stuart Scott. He will be missed. And then the next sort of highlight moment that stood out for me, there's been so much happening, but last week, Common and John Legend won Best Song for the song that they wrote together for Selma. And what he said was amazing. And these were his words. This was what Common said in his acceptance speech. I am the hopeful Black woman who was denied her right to vote. I am the caring white supporter killed on the front lines of freedom. I am the unarmed Black kid who maybe needed a hand but was instead given a bullet. I am the 2 fallen police officers slain in the line of duty. Selma has awakened my humanity. Selma is now. And if there's no sort of bam, that sort of the movie is moving, it's historic, it's not getting the props that it needs, but that's not up to, it still gets our props and it still gets our recognition. And that's what's important. But what he said sort of pulled everybody in and made sense to everyone, because that is what we're facing. We are all these segments of all these people who are still looking for justice to show up at their doorstep. And it has not shown up as yet. A couple of things for me. I spoke on Monday at Berklee College of Music, and then facilitated a panel with wonderful educators, artists. Shout out to Victor, Rennie, Omar, Nadelka, and Millie. I was absolutely moved by their willingness to really speak truth, really talk through the discomfort of what it means to really speak on social justice and the injustice that we're seeing. The folks, the professors, the musicians that came and participated really came to have a really truthful conversation. So it made for a very, very good, probably one of my, if the year is going to look like this is going to be a good year, because it was a really good kickoff for one of my first speaking engagements of the new year. And then I ended the week with another great presentation to the teachers of the Margarita Muniz Academy. Shout out to you for sitting through a conversation around diversity and bias and colorism, and having them, if we want the kids to have these conversations, then the adults need to have it. Because I am not from the school that just because you're an adult, you've done your work. Because I think, everybody needs to check themselves every so often. And teachers, there was an article that came out a few weeks back about teachers also dealing with some biases and what that means. So those were, the beginning of the week, the ending of the week of 2 speaking engagements that really moved me and gave me hope, left me feeling hopeful that we are able to do this. Kind acts. No, but before we talk about kind acts, it's been cold.
Very cold.
It's been really cold.
Breaking cold.
I don't remember it being this cold since I've been here. It was like 0 degrees one day. Right. I thought I was on the brink of tears walking outside. Yeah. So I was reaching for anything that was warming me up. So I was reaching for my salsa music, my Bob Marley. Bob Marley does it for me. He makes me feel like, okay, I can't sit still through a Bob Marley song, so I'm going to warm myself up with a Bob Marley song. But it's been cold. Yeah. So we've had to do what you've needed to do to stay warm. So kind acts of the week, anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, actually, I was waiting for your show to discuss this. I saw in the news there was another arrest that was made. This teenager got arrested by this white officer. The officer cuffed him and sat him down on the sidewalk. And the officer was, I guess, writing, what was going on or what had happened. The officer collapsed.
Oh, wow. Yes. Oh, okay.
You probably heard about that or so. So the kid who was handcuffed, I guess kicked him and pushed him, whatever he did, to try to revive him. And from the story I got, which brought some other police officers that helped them to get revived and come back to life. Which goes to show you the forgiveness, the unwillingness, the love of our people. Through even being in chains, we're still able to put that aside and save your life. You haven't said sorry yet, but we still continue to say that we are not gonna stoop to your level. Because he could have said, you know what, I ain't do nothing wrong, you cuffed me, sat me here, go ahead. You die today. We didn't. So that really said a lot to what's been happening to us. We don't know what could have happened if he didn't collapse. We don't know what could have happened to the kid if he didn't collapse. But we knew what happened to the cop when he collapsed. What the kid did.
Right. Exactly. So. Exactly. Yeah, that was a wonderful story, and I think they're recognizing him. In some shape or form, in that process. So that's really good. One of the things for me is that this week marked 5 years since the earthquake in Haiti.
Right.
And to me, one of the kind acts for the week, for us as a people, is the fact that Haitian people are still getting back up and still being resilient. I honor Monday and every day my colleague, my sister, Anne Marie Correlon, who was one of the many thousands who died on that day. And I wrote, on Monday that I fell in love even more with Haiti through her eyes because she was so proud of her people and her community. So I want to acknowledge that as a kind act, because I think the people of Haiti are still not where they need to be, but they're still not giving up. And I think that's an amazing thing. And all people of African descent should see themselves through the eyes of the Haitian people, because they were the first to do something.
Right.
And we should never forget that. My next kind act goes with my presentation on Monday. I was so beautifully received and held by Janet and all those at Berkeley. who were on the panel by Millie, Rennie, Victor, Janet, who pulled the whole thing together, Omar. And it made me realize that if folks are ready, and if folks are ready to hear the truth and sit through their discomfort with the hope of finding a solution, then it can be a beautiful thing. Because that was just a beautiful, beautiful emotional day for me as a presenter and a facilitator to have had such a wonderful experience. And at the end of the panel and the discussion, Millie Bermejo, who is a from Argentina, raised in Mexico, stood up and sang this song by Silvio Rodriguez. And the last line of the song really stayed with me, and I called her and I was like, I really want to know this song. And the last line, it's in Spanish, she says, Quiero que me perdonen por este día los muertos de mi felicidad. And it was like, I want to apologize to all those ancestors or all those who have passed for the fact that I'm feeling happy today. And I thought when she shared that and then the way she stood up and sang for it was a wonderful, wonderful, kind act for me of the week. And then I'm surrounded by some wonderful people. You weren't feeling good. We're here today. You're feeling better. I'm surrounded by people who send me songs, send me hellos, give me thanks, my young people who sit up and listen. So every day you can pull something, So hopefully you are reflecting now on your kind acts of the week. And we're going to start closing down shop. I'm going to, this song that I'm sort of finishing up with was shared with me by a colleague, and it's a remake of that Lord song about being special, but it's done with a little African twist or soulful twist. So how do we say that name, Hassan? Maymuna Yusuf is the song, and she's talking about we are royal. So we're gonna listen to it for a little bit and we'll be right back. I cut my teeth on the wedding ring in the movies, and I'm not proud of my address. In a torn up town, no postcode envy. Now everybody's like, come on, let's celebrate. Finally we getting cake. Every day we hustling, trying to fill a better plate. We don't care. The underdogs don't have no fear. So if we sing about gold teeth, paybacks, diamonds, and that kind of piece, you should raise a glass, help us free from this poverty so unfair. Give us free from this love affair, 'cause we're already royal. See it runs in our blood. We just been having tough love. We need a different kind of buzz. Let me be your ruler. You can call me Queen Bee, and baby I'll rule. Come save my reality. My friends and I, we crack the code. I love it. We count our dollars on the train to the party. And everyone who knows us knows that we are, because we say we are. Now everybody's like, come on, let's celebrate. Finally we getting cake. Every day we hustling, trying to fill a better plate. We don't care. The underdogs don't have no fear. So if we sing about gold teeth, paybacks, diamonds, and that timepiece, you should raise a glass, help us free from this poverty so unfair. Give us free from this love affair, 'cause we're already royal. See it runs in our blood. We just been having tough love. We need a different kind of buzz. Let me be your ruler. Coming in for TT, and baby I'll rule. Yeah. Come on into reality. Once you see something, it's the
ones who never had word. So first piece of the pie, we try to grab some. Snatching and running, packing and gunning, landing the honey. Flashing in front and scared of it.
So I'm gonna come back, close out, and then we're gonna end that with that. Isn't that good?
Like
That's a good remake. Not everybody can get a good remake going, but Sister has landed well with this one. So I want to thank you all for tuning in today to the Soulful Afro with Yvette show. Would love to hear what you thought about the show. Would check me out on our Facebook page, Soulful Afro with Yvette. Follow me on Twitter at Soulful Afro. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you want me to touch on. I'm even open to having folks ask me some questions, because there's a curiosity about, who Soulful Afro is.
Right.
So feel free to send those. I'll decide if they're okay to answer and when they're not,
Right.
But I thank you for tuning in. And in the message of reclaiming MLK is to know that we are all special, that we are all royal, and that every day we get up, we should honor our God-given, birth-given crown.
Right.
And no one should shake that from you or take that away from you, because you are made with a special light, and you should allow your light to shine. Hopefully tomorrow and every day we will pause and reflect on why we are walking and speaking and receiving the things that we are in a good way as human beings and as people of color. And it has to do with the man that we are celebrating tomorrow. So Hassan, any last words before we close out?
I think you started the year great. I think fearless. I think we should. That's definitely something that for 2015 we're gonna pursue. And I know a lot of folks appreciate this show, and we promise to make it even bigger and better for them, and give them the ability to showcase their voice and their faces. And of course, I appreciate you. 2015, I think, is going on now almost 3 years. So Soulful Afro and African Radio has a great partnership, and for our listeners out there and our supporters, we look forward, to do what we can to make it a soulful 2015.
Absolutely, and with that, we will be doing what we do well, which is coming to you with truth, with celebration, stuff that is thought-provoking but uplifting, and we continue to want to be that in our community. So thank you again for tuning in, and we shall see you next week on another edition of the Soulful Happenings in our community with Soulful Afro with Yvette. Peace.
Everything but call it nothing. We don't know that old true blue blood slave money, war heroes take it to their grave money, cotton money, cane money, diamond blood stain money. They tell us to save money, we don't get paid money. Only talking small money. Super 5-pack of Pampers, back of mile money, mattress pie high money. We know sneaker fly money. We know racks money. What about that tax money? Oil money, Africa's rich soul money. So think you can't fold money. British East Indian Company, old money, gold money, limestone coal money. It's like the whole world is upside down, and the real royalty has been reduced to clowns, lost in the stars, and we don't know which way to go. They blew the nose off the Sphinx, so we never know. We royal, we royal. We're greater than they say we are, So go ahead and call me star, Wake up if you dare, just get free from this love affair.